Thank you, Dr. Latif, for reminding us the importance of that polyp and how much the Maldives is dependent on its reefs because of its tourism and fisheries. I'm sure what you started at the school in terms of the curriculum development will go a long way in ensuring that Maldives provide professional managers in the future. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now my pleasant duty to invite His Excellency Ambassador of Afghanistan, Mr. Aziz Ahmadzada, Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary, who was born in the city of Panjshir Parwan in Afghanistan. Mr. Azizuddin Ahmadzada attended the Oakland High School in California, USA, under an AFS exchange student, and he went on to graduate from the School of Law at the Kabul University. His studies in the USA from 1977-78 has helped him to master many languages such as National Dari, which is Persian, Pashto, English, French, German, Russian, Arabic, and lately Bahasa, which is the language used in Indonesia. Selamat datang. Sama-sama. He has participated in many seminars and conferences globally, but mainly he has served as the country commissioner of the Patan Paktia province, the government district attorney in the troubled Helmand province, as the director at the Supreme Court of Justice. He has served as the secretary of the Afghan embassy in Jakarta, Indonesia from 1983-84. From 87 to 92, he served as the deputy head and the head of International Affairs Department at the Office of the President of the Republic of Afghanistan at the rank of second and first deputy minister. He was in Germany from 1992 to 2005, where I believe he completed his education. He has risen the flag of Afghanistan high by representing his country and nation at many significant events. From 2007 December to 2012 February, he represented Afghanistan as the director at the South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation, which is SARC Secretariat in Kathmandu, Nepal. Currently, he is the serving ambassador of Afghanistan in Sri Lanka. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is my warm pleasure to invite His Excellency to the forum.
A very warm good evening to everybody here. And I would like to thank Mr. Chairman for his kind words. As you all know, I'm a diplomat and I'm a lawyer by profession. I'm not intending to give a lecture based on scientific research or analysis about management and sustainable development. But I would like to say is I'm intending to share the pains and sufferings of my people because of the lack of proper management in our country and its effect on the development of this country. I remember once I was reading a book when I was a student at the School of Law. It was called Beyond the Khyber Pass. This book was written by Professor Sir Thomas Lowell, the head of the History Department of University of Columbia. In this book, he explains the tactics and techniques of governing in Afghanistan by the influence of British colonialists. And finally, at the end, he introduces Afghanistan. He says, this land is a land of revolutions. This land is a land of coups d'etats, bloodsheds, uprisals. If you study the history of the leaders of this country, none of them has passed away with their boots on, meaning that they have not had a natural death. They were either assassinated, killed, kicked out, overthrown, or something like that. My people in my country are suffering because of not having a proper management. If we have had politicians, leaders with a good knowledge of management, they could have managed this country in a beautiful way. Afghanistan would have been turned into the Swiss of Asia. Why? We are rich, extremely rich, but poor people sitting on the soil of rich, country. I mean, I was just searching, and studying. There is something called the Mendeleev Charter, or Charter of Elements, that we have all studied in high school. If you go to that charter, just look at it. Any element that you can find in that charter, you can find it in Afghanistan. And this is our biggest enemy. Our natural resources, richness is our biggest enemy. That's why the superpowers are plotting against us whenever we stabilize our country. If you study this country was attacked by Alexander the Great. This country was attacked by Genghis Khan. This country was attacked by the British, and we had 3 wars with them. Finally, in 1919, we eliminated an army of 16,000, British soldiers, and 1 person went alive to Peshawar. That was Dr. Bryden. And some people say that he was left intentionally alive to give the news to the British. Then the Soviets came there. Now the Americans are there. They do not let us, to properly develop. And one of the reasons why we are in this kind of situation, that we lack a professional manager and diplomat and leader. There are some hopes, with our new president, but let's see. He's a professor. He has got an academic background. He has a PhD in anthropology. And he has worked for 15 years with the World Bank. He knows the language of the Americans. He knows the language of the international, community. Hope he can do something better for Afghanistan. I mean, when I look back at my memories, and again, I'm talking about the importance and role of management in sustainable development. That's not some people might think, it's a simple thing. No. It's not a simple thing. It's very, very important in the life of a nation, and also in the life of the people of that nation. Look, the Americans, they provided us, they are saying, the Cigar report says they have provided us $104 billion. The city of Kabul, none of the cities in Afghanistan, they possess canalization or drainage system. I mean, what kind of development is this? What kind of management is this? And there are disagreements. Our leaders say only 18% of this money, $140 billion, has been spent in Afghanistan. The rest has gone, or the rest has been disappeared. So, if we have had good management, there would have been transparency, there would have been accountability, there would have been control of law. Nothing exists. I know a person whose father and uncles, they work as farmers in our land, in Panjshir, in the heart of Hindu Kush mountain. Now he possesses millions of dollars. He's a layman, he has not gone to high school even. What is this? This is the lack of management. Corruption is another problem in Afghanistan. Environmental pollution is another problem of Afghanistan. Now Kabul city is the most polluted city in the world. I remember diplomats from the region, from our neighboring countries, they were coming to stay in Kabul during the 60s to spend their weekends, because at that time we had nine or 10 discotheques, nightclubs that I have gone, when I was a student at Kabul University. Now look what's happening in the country. All the fundamentalists and extremists, they've been empowered. They have the religious power, and right now they have the armament power and the money power. Money has been has been pumped, into their pockets from different, sources. This is the lack of management. This is the lack of management. And human rights is violated. Grossly, immensely. And sometimes, this is not the fault of the individuals. Sometimes you feel, that sometimes you feel ashamed, to be in Afghan, while they burn a young lady with no crime, with no guilt, on the streets. That has never happened in Afghanistan before. Why it's happening now? Why Kabul has been changed into a rivalry center for espionage agencies? This is the lack of management. We cannot properly manage, our affairs, our internal affairs. For example, religious feelings, democratic values, general human values. These are things that we are living on the 21st century. The cream of the society has gone out. Once we had the best university in the world, Kabul University. But now there are mushrooms of universities. People graduate from these universities. When you ask them, what have you studied? They say, law. Can you define what is obligation and what is right? They cannot. This is lack of management. So, there are lots to share with you and to talk about it as scholars, as people who are aware of things. But in conclusion, I will just make it short because of the time limit and time constraint. Management is very much essential for the sustainable economic development, for bringing stability in the area of politics, education, public health, public administration, environment, human rights, human values, all these things. And my sincere request and demand and invitation from the scholars of the region is this, that we should cooperate with each other on bilateral basis, on multilateral basis, on regional basis. If we Asians do not help each other sincerely in an effective way, nobody would help us. For example, I'm sorry if I'm quoting, nobody should blame me that I'm taking side with any country or anything like that. I'm just trying to tell the truth. Take, for example, after the 16 years after the creation of the administration of President Karzai by the Americans, take two countries as an example who are cooperating and who are not, Pakistan and India. Pakistan promised us they will help with $320 million. Out of that $320 million, they have not paid so far even 200 million of it. India has spent $2.5 billion on very, very effective and public projects. I'm not trying, to praise, but I'm just trying, to explain the reality. They built the transmission line from Uzbekistan to Kabul, and people of Kabul were in blockade of load, current. When I was in Kabul in 2007, we had only 2 hours electricity in 3 days. In 1 week. Now they have 24 hours electricity. India is almost finishing a beautiful parliament building for Afghanistan, for the parliamentarians, with a cost of more than $200 million. A beautiful one, well equipped, well done. India has established and instructed an agriculture university composed of 3 faculties: agriculture, veterinary, and horticulture in Kandahar. There are 25 to 30 Indian professors who are teaching right now and helping the sector of agriculture in Afghanistan until the new cadres come up from Afghanistan and the natives will take their position. India has allocated more than several $100,000 to build the Salma Dam, which is located in Herat province. And that will irrigate huge amount of land, and also will provide about 40 megawatts of electricity for the vicinity of its project. I mean, there are lots of other areas that I can mention, that they have invested. But what others have done? So people judge on the basis of realities. So when I'm giving this example of between the two neighboring countries, India is our neighbor too. China is our neighbor. We have got 6 neighbors. If we properly assist each other within an honest way, we can achieve, sustainability and development. Thank you very much, If there would be any question regarding management, sustainability, the role of it, the importance of it, or regarding Afghanistan, I'm at your disposal. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Excellency, for refreshing to us the state of Afghanistan, which has gone from the stages of Alexander the Great, Genghis Khan, the British, who fought 6 wars, and finally the Soviets. And thank you for expressing your appreciations to the SAARC governments for their contribution to Afghan's development. I know the Indian High Commissioner in London told me about 1 biscuit a day policy for Afghanistan. The ambassador talked about issues which are very important to the development of managerial professions in Afghanistan. And I'm sure his plea to UMDISA and joining as the newest member will not fall in deaf ears. I'm sure my colleagues who are at the board will do their utmost to assist in the capacity development of Afghanistan. So, ladies and gentlemen, with this, I would like to call upon the next speaker on my list, which is Mr. Punya Prasad Nupani. He is our apartment colleague. We share the same apartment as Siput, and we got to know him much better. Mr. Nupani is, like me, a civil servant of the government of Nepal. He undertook his MA in History, B.Ed and B.L. from Tribhuvan University. He started his career in the administrative service and completed 30 years of working in different capacities under different departments and ministries in the Kingdom of Nepal and currently the government of Nepal. He has been working as the executive director of the Nepal Administrative Staff College, which is one of the most premier staff colleges like the one they have it in India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka and Bangladesh. Since 2010, he has been associated with many social and educational institutions and organizations, and currently he is the immediate past president, because we haven't actually concluded the AGM, of the UMDISA, and he has served the presidency for 2 years from 2011 to 2013. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Punya Prasad Nupani to deliver his lecture on Nepal.
Good evening and namaste. Respected chair, distinguished panelists, respected delegates, ladies and gentlemen. I am going to share the Nepalese perspective with regard to building sustainable management professionals in South Asia. Actually, there are many things in common that we share the same values and almost the same practices in this part of the world. So many issues are similar to many countries of the region. Even Nepal has so many things in common with other countries in South Asia. The nature of the issues may be a little bit different, and the magnitude of the problems may also be somewhat different. But basically, we share the same kind of experience while dealing with the development issues or while dealing with sustainability in development endeavors. In this background, I would give a little bit specific context of Nepal. Nepal, after the restoration of multi-party democracy in 1991, actually the reform initiatives were aggressively initiated. In this course, lots of changes has happened in the country, in the education sector as well. The management development institutions are growing. So far, 733 management faculty are operational in Nepal, and 28 colleges are offering MBA program. Besides MBA, there are other MBA management courses equivalent to MBA, for example, MBS and many others. But 28 colleges are offering MBA courses, MBA degree programs. And annually, 17,000 management graduates are produced. And that is almost 21% of the whole education graduates. Similarly, there are many other training institutions like Nepal Administrative Staff College, which is mandated to provide need-based training courses, consultancy services, and of course, research services to the government. Government of Nepal is our major client. So basically it is devoted to providing the three types of services to the government as well as to a little bit to the private sector as well. So there are other professional organizations working in Nepal. I don't have so much time to go through those names. And Government of Nepal is fully committed to integrate the sustainability considerations in all its development endeavors. So it has brought about a number of initiatives in designing the development projects or designing other kinds of activities as well. So I can say that the policies, programs, projects and activities are very much in line with the newly introduced sustainability concept and its considerations. For example, some of the policies like subsidy policy for renewable energy, climate responsive budget, gender responsive budget, pollution control expenses tax are made deductible, tax deductible, tax benefits for electric vehicles, solar technologies, and contribution of environment friendly structures are there. One house, one tree, one village, one forest, one city, multi-parks, as national campaign by declaring the decade 2014 to 23 as a decade of forest. And there are, like these are a few to name, there are others as well. And now the policy-wise, everything looks fine. Structures are there. to take care of those things, to monitor, even to supervise and evaluate. But things are not happening as they are desired to happen. There are many problems, actually many problems were already explained by previous speakers. I don't like to again reiterate them. And universities are offering courses on climate change, disaster management, sustainability, environmental science, environmental engineering, and many others. Number of institutions, universities, colleges has designed and offered these types of courses that go along with the policies of government. Actually, all this has happened within this framework, mandating, facilitating, partnering, and endorsing. This is a broader framework where the government of Nepal as well as the academics are working. Actually, the main issues are that the lacking of system thinking is seen everywhere. People go for short-term solutions without considering the long-term consequences. They are actually inviting disaster. They are creating lots of problems in real sense. And a professional's integrity, mostly in the higher strata of community, managers, senior people, senior executives, perceived to be low. In those people, the professional integrity is perceived to be low. This is shown actually even by the report of Transparency International on the basis of CPI, Corruption Perceived Index. It is shown that most of the countries in South Asia, they are not performing good. So is the case of Nepal. And one major hassle, one major problem is that the culture of high tolerance for non-compliance is there. People, corruption incidences are here and there, everywhere, but it is taken as granted. People don't bother whether corruption incidences are seen. They don't care much. And this has actually promoted the culture of, actually we are talking about zero tolerance of corruption. Rather, it has been promoted by our behavior and by our cultural practices. And CSR efforts seems more philanthropic than responsibility in the corporate area. Though our country has not that large corporate community, it is gradually growing. But of course, according to the Forbes magazine, one of the person, Chaudhary is one of the billionaire who comes from Nepal. Actually, he has number of corporate business, but still they are there actually. Though they are very few in number, the CSR responsibility is not taken that seriously. Sometimes they donate some money to hospitals and schools as philanthropic job. And difficulty in balancing stakeholders' interest in transitional economy. As you know, we are still transiting in terms of politics, in terms of economy, and in terms of cultural values as well. So every time you may hear about the Bandha, strikes, or agitations, anytime that can spread in any part of Nepal. The trade unionism is so strong now, creating hassles. Now the way forward is that operational integration of sustainability concept in academic curricula is to be promoted. Still, we have done something, needs to be done more. And again, the integrity building measures needs to be promoted, encouraged, and rewarded. And civic engagement programs needs to be increased. Actually, there are some civic engagement programs that are highly, appreciated across the globe. For example, the community forestry in Nepal, it's a very successful example because it increased the cover, not only the coverage of forest, the management aspect is improved now. It happened because the community people themselves has become the in charge of their community forest. In the same way, right now, the Clean Bagmati campaign is going on. As many of you know, Bagmati is a sacred river. It is getting polluted, more and more polluted every day. So now, from the last 100 weeks, a new campaign is being launched. So every Saturday, thousands and thousands of people are gathered, and they are contributing, actually taking out the garbage out of the river, and maintaining trees, or all these kind of things. Gardening is taking place. So public and private exchange programs needs to be again encouraged. Maintaining sustainability approach to executive development program and other related programs of MDIs. MDIs are offering courses for executive development programs. They also need to actually internalize the concept. And integration of sustainability dimension in organizational strategy. It is also a felt need of the day. So community of practice among professional managers in the region is felt very essential. MDSA, I think it's being a community of practice also. It is also working as this kind of practice. So we need to promote such initiatives across the region and reinforce its activities. And of course, SARC level accreditation, South Asia, SACs, in order to upgrade the management institutions in the region. The SACs quality assurance system needs to be strengthened. And also regional collaboration, as my previous speakers, Excellency, the Ambassador of Afghanistan to Sri Lanka also highlighted, the regional collaboration, cooperation and collaboration is a must, because we have lots of potentials and we have lots of opportunities as well. So, but because of our weaknesses, of our own weaknesses, we could not harness them. The SARC itself is being taken as a poverty club. Most of the, so many people, all of the, global problems seems to be accumulated for South Asia. So, but once we are united, if we go hand in hand, and if we promote regional collaboration and cooperation, of course, we can do a lot. With these few remarks, I conclude my presentation. Thank you very much.